Good afternoon, and welcome to this presentation for PHDwin Week. My name is Kellie Jordan, and I am a partner and reservoir engineer with Kellie Gillespie and Associates. I'm here to present today on the top 10 pointers to prevent common mistakes in PHDwin version 2. I want to take a minute to thank Jonathan and the team at PHDwin for inviting us to do this presentation and for letting us share our knowledge and expertise at PHD. A little bit about the history of Kellie Gillespie. We were established in 1961 in Fort Worth, Texas. We are a private independent oil and gas firm with an honest and reputable team and a long history of delivering for our industry. I get quite a few questions about the size of our team. We have about 35 employees. Half a dozen of those are here in Houston with me, and the rest are split between Austin and Fort Worth. We have roughly 20 engineers, 8 geologists and techs, and a handful of back office staff that keep us all running. We're a very efficient team with a long history of experience. Roughly the average experience is 18.5 years. I myself have been here for 17. Why CG&A? We are a registered Texas professional engineering firm with a slew of talented staff. We have the ability to pool resources from each office to prepare the best team for your project. We do have a deep experience in SEC, SPE, and COGI reporting. We specialize in reservoir reporting, valuations, fair market value, midstream volume modeling, royalties and minerals, data analytics, and geoscience. On occasion, we also help with projects for litigation, ESG advisory, and CO2 capture and sequestration. Basically, we can handle almost any project that's brought our way. A little bit about the presentation today. I have worked with PHD since 2006. I had a client that wanted to branch out and try something new, and we learned PHD together. I brought PHD into the firm, and Kellie Gillespie has been using it since then. I consider myself a very proficient user and have answered questions and helped clients along the way through the years to become, great users themselves. When it came time to, when we were asked and we're talking about, what we would like to bring to the table for PHDwin Week this year, I polled, my coworkers and my clients, and the common answer was, there are quite a few errors that keep coming up, like quite a few mistakes that are easily made. But I also thought, all these are easily caught. And so I called this presentation Common Mistakes, but it's also, kind of easy checks to catch user errors to help both yourself and your own reserve team out, but also helping out provide better, more quality databases for your auditors that have to come in after you. We see a ton of different databases between those that from our clients that have, too many people working in a database at one time, or just, one person that maybe has been doing filters or that sort of thing that that sometimes we just find errors, whether it be user errors or just plain oversights on their side. But by utilizing all that PHD has to offer, it can be straightforward to get a database up and running and in good shape to hand off to your auditors. I picked that I didn't want to go back and forth between version 2 or version 3. Most of my clients currently today are still using version 2 and plan to present their year-end databases to me in version 2. Although I will say we are working version 3 as well. I didn't want to confuse anybody by going back and forth. So we're sticking with version 2 for now. Maybe next year we can do one on version 3. So with that, let's just jump right in. For the first case, I'm going to talk about utilizing the pack and compile function of PHD. As a professional firm and in charge of reserve reporting, this is one of our most used functions of PHD. Anytime I send a preliminary report to a client or we're finalizing reports, we always pack and compile the database before making any runs. This always happens when matching runs with clients. Sometimes it's as simple as, my client didn't pack and compile the database before they sent it over to us. And when they sent me the PHD file, it did that for them. And they hadn't done it on their end when they made that match run. So it's really easy to just pack and compile and make sure that all of those economics that you've been changing along the way have all been accounted for. I'm going to run through this real quick. I know that everybody knows that PHD is a live database and it does its best to update, real time, but a few things do get caught along the way. And let's just show an example here. So right now I've got an SEC price deck in here. And if you look at my case list there, that first case is worth $16 million. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this price deck on oil and gas to another flat price deck. So we're going to close that, and our case editor comes back up, and you'll see that first case is still worth 16 million. So we're going to pack it. Still 16 million. So now we're going to go to reports and views and compact and compare, not compact and compare, sorry. We are going to compile all, and you'll see now that case is worth $20 million. So it's finally taken into account and ran through the economics on all these properties to show you that now those values are all updated. And this also unresolves any cases in your database. Sometimes databases can be very complicated with different expense cases or platform cases or unit cases, and they really get bogged down. And a quick pack and compile can really rerun through all those economics and get you back on your feet again. So on case 2, I want to talk about price escalations, price models and price escalations, and checking that you're running the same thing all the way through. As a reserve auditor, we finish reports with one price case. So one SEC price report, one strip price report. I know my clients do a lot of sensitivities, and so one field they may want to go through and do one price deck, where another field they want to have another price deck or price escalation associated with it. When I see my database, the first thing I want to do is make sure that everything is apples to apples. And so this is an easy check to go through. I'm going to show you how to do this in Excel. You don't have to go through case by case to find out what's going on. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this one with escalations and not necessarily the price model itself. But it's really helpful, especially if you're working in a lot of filters, that you can go through here and just check them very quickly. So in this one, I'm going to page through a few cases. Watch that price escalation down there. Notice SEC case flat. Oh, wait, there was a constant 2%. So I know I've got a few discrepancies, a few inconsistencies. And so I'm going to take this out to the edit data in Excel and look at the prices. And let's filter this by just price escalations, because that's what we're going to focus on right now. And notice there's quite a few more that I hadn't seen yet that are still running that constant 2% case. So let's change all these to SEC case flat. I'm going to copy that. We're going to paste it in that first one, and we're going to fill down all the way through. Let's remove our filter. Again, I didn't touch the price model itself, only the escalation model. And now, so we scroll through these again, and we see everything has SEC case flat. So now I'm happy. For case 3, I want to talk about confirming lease NRI values. Lease NRIs are very important when calculating the economic limit of a case. The lease NRI is the ratio between working interest and net revenue interest. PHD calls it both the lease NRI and the case NRI, so not to get those two confused, they are the same. This will really skew the cash flow value if it's not correct. In the example I'm going to show, we have this set to 100%, which basically says that no matter what, we're going to run this case, and no economics are going to are going to be caught in it. But I will say a good range of lease NRI values are, they range between 70 and 85%. Sometimes you see higher or lower, but it really depends. Let's run through this one real quick and I can walk you through it. There we go. So looking at the ownership, notice it's red too. So PHD is trying to tell you something's wrong. So they're all at 100%, which means we're not taking into the fact that, you know, expenses can outweigh the revenues at all. So let's run this and see what the values are for both the total expenses and the PV10. So on this first case, we have total expenses at 85.7 million and a PV of 122.65. So let's take out this ownership to edit data in Excel. And if I knew my interests were all 175 and they were great across the board and consistent, I could easily change this here just like I'm doing. But we're going to assume that this is real life and that that's not the case. And that it's going to vary case by case depending on any land values that they have. So we're going to do this in the global editor. We're going to do all cases under ownership, and we're going to auto calculate. And this is where it calls it case NRI. So again, same thing as lease NRI. So we're going to apply that and close it. And then if you look at the ownership, notice that lease NRI is no longer red. It's been updated. PHD is trying to tell you it's correct. Do be careful about this if you have any royalties that not to do an auto calculate because it will any royalties or overrides that it will get that wrong. So again, we're going to pack and compile that. And let's run it one more time so we can see what the difference in expenses and PV10 value is. So our previous total expenses were 85 million for the project. And now if we look at that grand total again, now we're down to 78 million. And we gained a few $100,000 in PV value. So again, be very careful if you own any royalties or overrides on top of a working interest piece that you have when you're doing the auto calculate.